This video explores the common methods of primary market research which are used by businesses to collect first-hand insights and information from customers and the target market, finishing with a comparison of the key benefits versus drawbacks of primary market research in business. Primary market research is typically designed and conducted by the business itself. However, it can also be conducted by external parties, such as a specialist market research agency on behalf of the business if they choose to. There is a variety of methods available to use when conducting primary market research to ensure that the business receives results which are specific to its own circumstances. The common primary market research methods usually target the business's customers or target market and include surveys and questionnaires, focus groups and interviews, observations, and test marketing. Essentially, primary market research is brand new research, which involves a collection of new data and information that isn't already available for the business and usually conducted for a number of purposes, which include identifying customer needs, identifying gaps in the market, reducing risk, and ultimately to help the business to make better decisions. Often people use the terms survey and questionnaire interchangeably, but there is a difference between them, and it is vitally important for businesses to understand these differences before conducting market research. A questionnaire is any written set of questions. Typically, researchers will use a mixture of open and closed questions aimed at collecting information about individuals, whereas a survey is not only a set of questions, but also the process of collecting and analysing the responses from the questions, looking for trends, behaviours, and the bigger picture. Put simply, a questionnaire forms the foundations, and a survey is a whole process, including the method used and analysis of the findings. Surveys come in a variety of formats and typically offer a convenient and cost-effective solution for businesses where a response is required from a larger population. Often, they contain a series of pre-written questions and are commonly used via online third-party platforms such as SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, and Typeform. However, surveys can also be paper-based and sent out in the post, which is known as a postal survey. Alternatively, they can also be conducted in person as part of an interview, or as a focus group with the aim of collecting the opinions of participants, which are usually customers or members of the business's target market. You may have witnessed first-hand surveys being conducted via interviews as you walk down the high street or in shopping centres, where members of the business stop members of the public and ask them to complete the survey. They are often short in length, but getting the balance right through the number of questions is difficult to judge. If a survey is too long, participants may not finish or will rush the survey. Alternatively, if the survey is too short, it may not provide the business with sufficient data. Surveys are an extremely popular way for businesses to gather vast amounts of feedback about their customers' experience and views of their products in a short time frame. But they often lack depth, as it's difficult to engage participants and they may not take it seriously. Sky are a good example of a business using the survey method. After a phone call with a member of the customer service team at Sky, customers will be surveyed through a series of text messages, asking them about their experience and how it could be improved. Focus groups and one-to-one interviews are often used to collect more in-depth information than a business would typically receive from a standalone questionnaire. A focus group is essentially an interview with a select group of people, whereas a one-to-one interview is just with one selected person. The participants of both methods would typically be members of the business's target market or customers of the business already. Some businesses choose to run this process on a regular basis, which could be monthly or quarterly, etc., allowing them to track trends and any changes to the wants and needs of its target market. Businesses also have the choice who participates in the process. It may recruit participants to take part in the research process on numerous occasions, or it may vary participants each time depending on what the aims of the market research are. Either way, both have a more formal feel to them, within which participants have chosen to participate either on a voluntary basis or because they have been paid. Therefore, the process is typically taken more seriously by the participants, who provide more thoughtful answers and often provides the research with a natural opportunity to expand on any key points and ask further questions if it would be beneficial to the research findings. Conducting primary research via focus groups or one-to-one interviews often results in fewer participants in comparison to sending out a questionnaire electronically, and the business often must invest more time and money into the process for a smaller range of results. Whilst the response given by participants are often more accurate due to the formal approach, the size of the focus group or amount of people who take part in a one-to-one interview can really impact how representative the findings are. For example, if a focus group is too small, not enough information will be collected to be representative of the target market's population, but having too many people involved might lead to some participants not getting the chance to contribute properly. A famous example of focus groups being used as part of the primary market research process and ultimately influencing change is at Chrysler Plymouth. Back in the 1950s, the successful car manufacturer was struggling with sales of its convertible cars, until the findings of a focus group indicated that it was in fact wives and not husbands who were influencing household decisions and choosing to buy more sensible models over its convertible range. This ultimately led Chrysler Plymouth to adapt its advertising strategy to target women specifically, something it hadn't done before. This resulted in increased sales for the business and influenced the car industry as a whole, with competitors soon following suit. Observing the behaviour of customers provides businesses with genuine insights into the experience of customers when interacting with a business, and what influences them in both a positive and negative manner. When observing, it is very common for businesses to try and spot patterns and trends between customers to generate reasoning behind their behaviour or to influence them in the future on a wider scale. This could be as simple as a general observation of a customer's journey whilst in store, from the moment they walk in, to which aisles they go down, how long they stay on each aisle for, or what attracts their attention, and ultimately what they purchase. Even having information which many people would potentially consider minor about customers, such as the path a typical customer takes around the store, the impact of different promotions, or the impact of product placements on their buying behaviour. A business is able to use this information to firstly improve their experience by making changes to the store layout and any promotions used, to ultimately influence their behaviour in a positive manner, with the aim of increasing spending and levels of customer satisfaction. However, it is important to understand that the findings of observations can be subjective, and often leaves many questions unanswered as a result. Many businesses utilise test marketing to trial their products, reduce the risks, and gain feedback from the target market before launching it on a larger scale. Typically, test marketing is conducted in smaller geographical areas where the business is based or its target market can be reached. Test marketing is very common in industries such as food retail, especially for products which are new to the market and not very well known by the target market. Let's imagine a small independent ice cream brand approaching a supermarket to sell its range of low-calorie vegan ice creams. If the supermarket's buyers believe the product could sell and be popular with customers, it is likely they will initially purchase a smaller quantity of the product and trial it in a smaller selection of its stores to gain as much information as possible before committing to an increased order and eventually launching it nationwide. During test marketing, as well as sales data, the supermarket would usually be looking for marketing mix information by focusing on the product itself and how it meets the wants and needs of the target market. It would also look at the selling price and whether customers are willing to pay this amount, and how appropriate the distribution channels are. Finally, how effective are the promotional materials and marketing activities that have been used to influence buyer behaviour. By conducting test marketing, businesses often receive a number of key benefits, which include gaining real data and insights, as the research is based on actual customers rather than just potential customers who participate in a survey, which in turn helps reduce the risk of a nationwide launch failing, as a business can utilise the research findings and feedback from customers to amend the product and any related elements of the marketing mix prior to the nationwide launch. As the product is launched, albeit in just a few locations, it can really help to create hype around the product, especially if it is popular with initial customers who purchase during the test marketing stage. However, it's important to be aware of the potential drawbacks of test marketing. Not only can test marketing be an expensive and time-consuming method of primary research, the results may also not truly represent the target market of the business, which can in turn influence the business to make decisions based on customers who were involved rather than the target market as a whole. So now we have looked at some of the common primary market research methods, let's quickly explore the benefits and drawbacks of a business conducting primary market research. A key benefit of primary research is it is designed and conducted by the business or on behalf of the business to meet its requirements and aims. Therefore, the findings are specific to the business. Primary market research is also relevant, up to date, and the business has the flexibility to conduct research when it is required, which is so important in today's fast-paced business world, where research, which is just a couple of years old, could be completely outdated and inaccurate. The business can also design the research to contain a mixture of quantitative and qualitative data, which in turn makes the research more useful and reliable to make decisions from. Also, competitors have no access to the data, giving the business a competitive edge. While some methods can be quick, easy and relatively cheap to conduct and analyse, primary market research is generally expensive, as the business either has to train and pay existing staff to complete the process, or can outsource the work, which in turn means they will pay a premium. Either way, primary market research can be a very time-consuming process dependent on the methods chosen, and results aren't instant, which can be frustrating and delay progress in the business, such as a delayed product launch until the results are analysed and informed decisions can be made. There is also a risk of research bias, as the participants and research samples chosen by the business may not represent the population of its target market accurately. And finally, it's very important to note that it is very difficult for most businesses to attract customers to participate in the market research process, and when they do, there is a risk that they may not actually take it seriously, which can result in inaccurate findings. So that's it, primary market research explained. If you want to find out more about the purpose of market research or secondary market research methods, just head over to our YouTube channel and watch our videos where we go into depth and provide examples of these in action. Thank you for listening. I hope that's helped you to understand primary market research. If you found it useful, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to Two Teachers YouTube channel for lots more business studies videos.